Welcome to Behind the Muscle podcast. Today's guest is an IFBB pro bodybuilder. Today's guest is Charles Griffen. Charles, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, brother. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So Charles, quickly here, I know we're kind of a little bit on a time restraint, but I like to ask all my guests, who are a few of your favorite bodybuilders of all time?
I get asked this question a lot, who I look up to in bodybuilding, who are my favorite bodybuilders. I really wasn't into bodybuilding until I got into bodybuilding, you know what I mean? So once I got into bodybuilding in 2014, I had to start doing a little reading on, a little study up on bodybuilding and so forth, you know what I mean? So, if I had to pick somebody that, that was one of my favorites, and probably the two, I'm gonna have to go with Ronnie Coleman's physique, Phil Heath's physique, you know what I mean? Those are like two of my favorite people right there. Yeah.
All right. Awesome, man. And then at what age did you start lifting weights? And then why did you start lifting weights at that age?
I started lifting weights. I started lifting weights in junior high. The reason why I started lifting in junior high is because we had a weight class, weight room class and everything like that. So that's when I started lifting weights, was in junior high. But everybody thought my mom had me lifting weights at a young age, at 5-6 years old, because I was rocked up, always with the cut up arms and everything like that. So they were like, do you have him lifting weights already? You know what I mean? So we got some great genetics in my family. Yeah.
Very cool. Now, again, because of time, I do always like to kind of get the backstory of my guests. As I was kind of looking through your Instagram, I came across a little video, and I want to read this statement that you said in this video, and then I want you to kind of expound on it. You said, bodybuilding got me off death row. Will you kind of break that down and explain that, please?
So first of all, if we got to go to 30 minutes, I could go ahead and do 30 minutes as well. All right. What I mean by that was, when my mom had passed away, I took that very hard. You know what I mean? I took it very hard, and I fell off the deep end when it came to drugs and alcohol and just living life real recklessly. You know what I mean? I was on my crotch rocket going 160 miles an hour on the freeway. You know what I mean? On drugs, on alcohol. Not really caring about life. You know what I mean? Because I was upset with the man above, and I was just upset with life because they took my mother away from me. So when I say bodybuilding took me off death row, bodybuilding gave me happiness again and put happiness back in my life. It put a smile back on my face, and it made me channel that energy in a different way, and put some principles and put some discipline and principles back in my life, and something that what I really needed. You know what I mean? So that's when I say got me off death row. That's what I mean by it right there.
Right. Now, when you were growing up, when you were a little bit younger and stuff, Charles, was for a lack of a better terminology, was kind of like the street life. Was that something that was around you and kind of like attracted you, or not per se?
Yeah. I was around the street life. To really be honest with you, I had a little silver spoon in my mouth. I was spoiled. Mom and dad gave me everything I want, but I wanted to be in the streets. I wanted to run with the bad boys. I wanted to do this stupid stuff. You know what I mean? Just because that's what I was around, and that's what I saw, and that's what attracted me at the time. And I didn't have to live that life. I wasn't born into that life, but that's the life the route that I chose. The street life is what I chose growing up. I wanted to do all that stupid stuff, and I really didn't have to, because like I said, I had a little silver spoon in my mouth growing up.
So let's talk about, you mentioned your mom passing away, and that was really the catalyst to get you into bodybuilding. So how did you kind of first get exposed to bodybuilding? Talk about kind of when you first actually started training like a bodybuilder.
I had a couple people say, you need to try bodybuilding. You know what I mean? You got this crazy physique. You need to try bodybuilding. I was like, man, I'm not getting up on that stage in no thongs, man. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not doing it. So after my mom passed, I just fell off the deep end. I was, cocaine. I was doing a lot of cocaine. I was just popping pills, doing stupid stuff. And I was on a binger, where I wasn't really getting a lot of sleep for that last week. And I was just like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? My mama raised me better than this. You know what I mean? When she was here, I was doing this stupid stuff. So let me give her something to be proud of. You know what I mean? And I and I just threw away the drugs and I got back into the gym, you know what I mean? And I was like, why not try this bodybuilding? I need something. I need a strict plan. I need a strict daily routine. I need something like that. So what better else to do that is with bodybuilding, because you got to follow your meals. You got to follow this workout regimen. You got to do everything the same. It's repetitive. And I felt like that was going to be the best thing to save my life and give me my life back. And that's where I came to get into bodybuilding.
So did you kind of have a mentor? Did you kind of just figure out things on your own in the beginning?
No, I just figured out things on my own. You know what I mean? That's what I did. I figured out things on my own and started working with this one guy, Keith Williams. He's a pro bodybuilder, but it just wasn't a good fit. You know what I mean? It wasn't a good fit, and I'd rather do things on my own because at the time, we're good now, we're good peoples now, but at the time, it just didn't match. Our character, you know, how we did it just didn't match. So I did my own thing, you know what I mean? I reached out to my first coach, Tim Johnson, and he wouldn't take me in because he said the bodybuilding world is real small. And I was working with Keith for a while, and he didn't want to seem like he was poaching me or I left him to get in there. So I did my own thing, you know what I mean? I got ready for my first show, all by myself. And then the last week was peak week, and that's when I reached out to Tim, and he kind of guided me on in and helped me get to the stage after that. Then after I won the overall at my first show, Mr. Minnesota, then he was like, okay, you competed at your first show, you did it. Now I can coach you. So that's kind of how it went about. Yeah.
Awesome. Love that. Now, how did that first competition go? And then would you just kind of unpack that competition history as an amateur for us, please?
The competition, it was my first competition I did. It was Mr. Minnesota. I was a light heavyweight, and I took the overall, you know what I mean? I came in there and I just took the overall, really didn't know how to pose, really didn't know how to do none of that. I basically won off straight genetics, you know what I mean? I just looked freaky at my first show, didn't know what I was doing, you know what I mean? And I won the overall right there, and I was ready to go do a next local show. And then my coach was like, now you're just trophy chasing. Like, you got the abilities to go to a national stage. Why not try your luck on a national stage? And I was like, okay, let's go to the national stage. And I did North Americans. And I was going out there. I'm like, oh, I won my first show, Mr. Minnesota. I'm about to turn pro at North Americans. They can't stop me. You know what I mean? I'm about to turn pro. And right when I walk in North Americans, a guy walked up on me, and I'm like, what class are you in? You're a heavyweight? And he was like, no, I'm a middleweight. I'm like, holy shit. What am I getting myself into, man? You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa. And it was this dude named Tristan Echo. I forget his first name. He came in. We were all sitting in line. We were just waiting to start, to get out there. He came in line. He took off his stuff, and he had this vein on his chest and this and that. The veins was doing the Macarena. It was doing all kind of shit. I was like, man, I told Tim, we're not getting our pro card. So go ahead and order me those pancakes, order me all that stuff, because we ain't doing it. You know what I mean? But for my first national show, I placed 8th place. You know what I mean? That was, I got into the first call out. I placed 8th in my first national show. So then we got ready for nationals in Miami. And I was like, oh, I could do this. I'm going to get it. So I kind of screwed up on my diet. I was eating a lot of junk, not really following to a T and everything like that. And I got on that stage and I got that head bop. You know what I mean? I think I got I didn't tie for 16th. I didn't do none of that. I think I got 12th or 13th place. You know what I mean? So that was a wake-up call. So then I came back to Minnesota. I got back in the lab and I just started working and came to my gym where I'm at right now, Los Campeones Gym. And I met one of my real good buddies, one of my real good friends, still one of my closest friends, Aaron. And I came in here and I walked in this gym like, there's more monsters here. There's more bodybuilders here. And he showed me a way to working out that I wasn't used to. And next thing you know, my body just started growing. And people were kind of hating, saying that he was trying to get me to grow out of the light heavyweight division. He didn't want to compete against me. But what he was doing was just showing me my real capabilities, you know what I mean? And I grew into the heavyweight class. Then I went to USA's and I placed 3rd against Cody Montgomery and somebody else. I think it was Joe Washington, somebody. I placed 3rd. Me and Cody Montgomery is battling on that stage. And that's when everybody's like, oh, we got a real contender. Who this guy? Then that's when I went to Miami 2015 and I took the heavyweight class. And I won my heavyweight class and turned pro. And I went against Sergio Olivia in the overall. I don't care what Sergio says or what the judges say. I beat Sergio at Nationals Miami. I beat him. You know what I mean? They took it away from me. No, I'm just joking around. But yeah, I went against my boy Sergio Olympia, man, and he won it. He got the overall, and I was on cloud nine, man, because I got my pro card. You know what I mean? And that was my amateur run right there. You know, I just did one local show and then 4 national shows. I just hit the national stage running. You know what I mean? And I turned pro, and then that was my amateur life right there.
Very cool. Now I'm very curious. You said that your first coach kind of, or somebody at your gym, excuse me, kind of introduced a different training style to you, and that was a game changer for your physique as an amateur. What was that change, or what was that training style, if you don't mind talking about that?
Lifting hard, lifting heavy. You know what I mean? Like, he put on squats, and I used to do like 225, 275, maybe did 315. He put 315 on the bar. He did it 15 times. I was like, okay, I got to do it 15 times. He put 405 on the bar. I've never done it before. You know what I mean? I'm just acting cool and calm and collective. And I'm like, okay, he did the 405. I did the 405. And then we went up to 495. He did that. I did that. And I kept it calm and collective. But when I walked out of the gym, I started punching the air, doing all kind of crazy shit, because I'm like, what the hell did I just do? I didn't know I could do that. You know what I mean? So instead of me just using genetics in here, just really just squeezing the muscle, this and that, he got me in here hitting it hard. And I got to really use my genetics, and I really started growing. And, you know, he showed me what bodybuilding was all about. So, yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Now, I want to ask you, when you kind of started this whole bodybuilding experience, this bodybuilding, process, when you first got into it, did you kind of have a goal, or did you have anything in mind, or were you just kind of going with the flow and saying, hey, this is something I need to do to kind of change my life?
You know, I was just going with the flow, because at first I was just going with the flow because, like I said, my mom passed away October 2012, and I was depressed in a bad state, in a bad mind headspace, in a bad headspace, all the way up until June of 2014. When I won that Mr. Minnesota, that was the first time where I actually was happy. And, you know, I had a smile on my face, and I could be by myself and think about my mom and not just, you know, tear up and cry, which I still do that, but it just, bodybuilding just, yeah. And I was like, you know what? This gave me life back. This put happiness back in my life. I think I could do something with this. And that's when I pushed the foot on the pedal, and I went 100 miles an hour, and I've been going 100 miles an hour since. You know what I mean?
So how do you, Charles, kind of now as a professional bodybuilder, how do you kind of game plan in terms of goals, or what does that kind of look like to this point? Do you have like small goals? Do you have big goals? Do you write them down? Is it just in your mind? How does that work, just for us that are kind of curious?
It's just in my mind, you know what I mean? So every show I'm entering, I'm not entering the show just to do the show. I'm entering the show to win the show, you know what I mean? And like when I made it to the Olympia 18, my goal was, it's realistic goals, you know what I mean? Of course I want to win the Olympia. Of course I want to be top 5 at the Olympia. Of course all that, but my goal was, I just want to be top 10 at the Olympia. I want to be a top 10 Olympian, you know what I mean? So I set realistic goals for myself. Not saying that I can do all the other stuff, but you got to be realistic with yourself, you know what I mean? You had to. Like, yeah, you can shoot for the stars and land here, and landing here will be top 10, you know what I mean? So that's where I was. I was shooting for the stars, but really I landed, you know, I wanted to land in that top 10 spot. So that's how I really set my goals for me. So like, I'm just entering every show to win the show and to bring my best package, and, you know, to bring that wow factor. Yeah.
Now, just through consuming some of your social media, listening to some of your other interviews, correct me if I'm wrong, but the goal this year is to win a show and then qualify for the Olympia again. Like, that's the number one goal, correct?
Number one goal right there. Number one goal right there. Yeah. Number one goal is to win a show and to get to Olympia. And, you know, I'm talking about that. Forget that top 10 spot. You know, I'm talking about, let's get in the top 8. Why not the top 8? Why can't I do that? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like with the changes I've made, this and that, they got to give me my fair shake. They got to give me my fair shake sooner or later, because I've been knocking at that door. I changed everything they wanted me to change. I brought my quads up last year. I brought them up even more. I fixed the midsection. It's like, I'm about to kick the door down now, because they got to let me in. They can't keep not giving it to me. You know what I mean? I paid my dues. There's been a few shows where I placed second place and I could have won that show, but they got the nod because they were that seasoned pro. They've been doing that. They've been doing this. And I'm not saying I'm looking for a handout, but when I deserve it, I deserve it. And I feel like I deserve that shit. You know what I mean? So right now I got fire and I got some anger in me that I'm ready just to kick the door shut, slam the door shut. So next time I step on stage, it ain't gonna be no question. I'm walking off the stage like, yeah, we're going to Olympia. So that's my mind goal now.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're gonna get to this last weekend's competition. But before we do, why don't you share with us what was your pro debut, and then talk about just some of the pro shows that you have done. You've won. You've been to the Olympia in 18. Talk a little bit about that, please.
My pro debut was the Frigno Legacy back in 16, and like I was all excited to do that show, and all of a sudden I see Justin Compton doing the show, Nathan D'Asher, all these names. I'm like, oh man, why the hell they got to pick my pro debut to do this show? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to, because my mindset was, I'm still kind of new to the game. My mindset was, if I don't win this show, I'm a failure. And what these guys doing, and I'm like, shit, I'm not gonna win it. I'm gonna be a failure. But not knowing that me placing fifth at my pro debut, that's huge. You know what I mean? Amongst some huge names, that's huge. So that was my pro debut. Then 17, I did the Cal Pro, which I took third at the Cal Pro. And then I went and did the Kansas. And I took second at Kansas next to Victor Martinez, which, you know, I always say, man, I'm not like, I promise to God, I'm not here complaining and saying this, saying that. But when I feel like I win, I feel like I deserve it. I feel like I deserve that win. But even though I didn't get the win, it was a win because I got to stand next to a legend, Victor Martinez, and he posted me on his social media talking about me. So that was a win in my book, you know what I mean? And so then I did Indy Pro in 18. Oh, then I went to do Chicago that year, that same year. I did Chicago that same year, and I placed third that year at Chicago. And then I went and did Indy in 18, and I placed second against Kluko. And then that was the end of the run for me and my first coach, Tim Johnson. And then I got with Matt Jansen. I met Matt at the Indy show, and I was hot. I was angry after I didn't win that show at Indy. And then Matt calmed me down, talked to me this and that, and that. And one of my buddies remembered Matt seeing me at my pro debut. And when I came out, he was just like smiling, like, dang, that's that guy right there. And after I was like, because me and my first coach, we just kept missing the mark. The way I looked the day before, 2 days before, it never translated to the stage. So I had to, my time was now, so I had to get a new coach, and I got with Matt Jansen, and I won my next show, the Kansas Pro. I won the next show, came back and won that. And then we got ready for the Olympia, which I placed, I missed the top 10. I placed 13 at the Olympia, but you know, I still beat some guys, and I stood on the Olympia stage, you know what I mean? And the 19 is then that's when I was like, okay, it's time to get big. It's time to get big. And I got up to 285 pounds, to damn near 290. But what sucked about that was my knees suffered. So when my knees suffered, that means my leg day suffered. So I lost that. And then I got hernia surgery after Olympia in 2018. I got double hernia surgery. And then after I healed, I got up to like 290 pounds, and my knees suffered. So my leg day suffered. So I was doing 3 or 4 plates on a hack squat, and that was killer to my knees. So that's really a pump up work. So while my upper body's growing, my lower body's not growing. And when I dieted down, I lost my symmetry. I lost all that, you know what I mean? And what I did from there, so then that's when we got ready for Chicago, and I got second place in Chicago. Then I got my worst placing ever out of the first call outs. Never not been in the first call outs. This and that. I did Tampa, and I placed 6th at Tampa, and that hurt right there. And then I didn't even want to do that show, but sponsorships, this and that, they wanted me to compete, and I was like, all right, let's compete. And after that, I took a year off. I was just like, COVID had happened already. COVID was happening, so I was like, you know, I'm gonna take a year off. And I didn't get up heavy like that anymore. I keep my weight at a certain weight to where I'm still able to execute and work out like I'm supposed to. So then I came back in 21 with the new and improved look at Tampa, which I grew my legs. The midsection was still a little off, but I placed 3rd at Tampa. And then got back into the lab this year and brought the quads up again. And I just kept practicing that vacuum, training abs a lot more. And then one time in the bathroom, I said, and it sucked in. I'm like, oh shit, oh shit. I tried to grab the phone and catch it, and I couldn't catch it. And so I just kept practicing and kept practicing. And then finally, it's just like walking, man. And it just sucked in. And then once I seen it, it just gave me that X factor. It gave my friend that look it needed, because I never had midsection problems before that hernia surgery. Then something happened with that hernia surgery, and it took away my look. So the look that I got right now is that look that I always have, but that hernia surgery just messed it up. And, you know, and now it's on, man. You know, I got tons. After I seen what I could do now, it's over with now. Like they opened up a whole can of
All right. So before Indy, I want to take a step back. You know, you stepped on the Olympia stage in 2018, right?
Yeah.
You know, going through the loss of your mom, and just, you know, there's always ups and downs in life, right? What was that like for you, just as an individual, as a professional bodybuilder, to be able to step on that Olympia stage? Like, what did that do to you inside? Was that some sort of validation? Did something change for you at that time or not?
I did it. You know, it had changed already. You know what I mean? It had changed already. Me turning pro, me doing stuff like that. Like I said, because I was a knucklehead growing up, did this and did that. So I finally finished something through. You know what I mean? I got my pro card. I finally finished something through. So that already changed for me. But to get to that Olympia stage, it was just like, whoa. You know what I mean? It was like, it was like, whoa, so much where I forgot to take it all in. It went so quick. Because we got out there the week before. I was out there for a whole week, just hanging out with the coach, and he had other people in there. It was just like, wow, like I really made it to the big stage. And I was just excited to go back and see the pump up room, you know what I mean? Where they pump up, because I seen videos. I'm like, holy shit, I'm here. Like I did this, you know what I mean? So of course I'm like, I don't care what place I place. If I finish last, I made it to Olympia. Of course I didn't want to finish last, but you know what I mean? It was like, wow, I did this. You know what I mean? There's not many people that could say they made it to the Olympia stage. And definitely in Minnesota, there's nobody. I'm from Arizona, but I started bodybuilding in Minnesota. So that's why I say I'm from Minnesota when it comes to the bodybuilding. And nobody in Minnesota has ever made it to open class bodybuilder ever made it to Olympia. You know what I mean? So it's like, I did some stuff that a lot of people haven't done and probably will never do. You know what I mean? So, and that was making it one time. And now this year, when we make it two times, it's going to be even nicer this year. You know what I mean?
Yes, for sure. It's going to be sweet. Now, before we wrap up our conversation, I want to ask you about Matt, your coach. Obviously, everybody that's going to be watching, listening to this, they know who Matt Jansen is. But what has he kind of brought to the table for you as an athlete? What's your relationship like with him? And you know, just what do you kind of want to say about Matt?
Basically, the thing I want to say is he cares. You know what I mean? He really cares. Like the amount of detail he puts into everything. Like when we're out there, when I'm with him, I could just be sitting down watching TV. The next thing you know, Matt comes and brings me my food to me, weighs out my water, does this. Like he cares. Like he'll give a shirt off his back to me. You know what I mean? Like he's just a good person. Some of my friends just met him this week, and it was like he got some really soft eyes. Like you could really tell he's a real nice person, man. He really cares, man. He's just a good dude, man. Like Matt is really good dude. He doesn't get his fair shake, because all these other coaches are like older than him and this and that. He's 32 years old, so they don't give him his fair shake, man. And he's one of the best out here to do it. You know, he's my GOAT when it comes down to it. He's my GOAT, you know what I mean? So they don't never give him the respect that he needs. You know what I mean? The respect that he has right now, he deserves so much more as a coach. You know what I mean? Because he's that dope. You know what I mean? He's that dope, man. Like right now, I check in with him daily, 2 times a day. He wants to see me 2 times a day. Morning check-ins, post-workout check-ins. He just, you know, when we came back from Indy, you know, he said, just check in on me. He just texts me just to check on, make sure my head is screwed on right. Make sure that I know that I can win this next show. You know what I mean? So Matt's like family. You know what I mean? Like he's just a good dude, man. Like that's what it is. You know, when you're a good person and you got a kind heart, it's gonna show, and it shows with all the stuff that he does. You know what I mean? So yeah, I finished my career with Matt. I won't go anywhere else. He's the best in the game to me. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So let's get to Indy. You just competed on this past Saturday. Why don't you share a little bit about your feelings, your emotions, kind of where's your head at right now? And I want to ask you, I want to pull something more out of you than just maybe something that somebody would post on social media or a post-show interview. How do you deal with adversity? How do you deal mentally with something like a competition or something in life not going your way? I want to pull that out of you if you don't mind.
I had the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life happen to me was losing my mother. You know what I mean? So nothing could amount to that right there. So this how they took this win from me, that ain't nothing, because all I'm gonna do is come back even harder. After I seen what I did at Indy, they messed up, because now I got some real confidence going in me. I already believed before this first show, I already believe I could win it. And I really, in my heart, I swear to you, in my heart, I feel like I won that show. You know what I mean? I really feel like that. So now all they did was they just opened up a whole nother beast. You know what I mean? Because I'm coming to Cal Pro. I'm not doing New York. I'm doing Cal Pro. And I'm just gonna come and shut the door shut, because I deserved that win this last Saturday. I did 18, 19, 20, 21. Every knock they had was it was never my legs until I got up heavy and I couldn't train legs, but legs in midsection. Bring your legs in midsection up. 18, 19, 20, 21. I did that. And then this year, they can't say that no more. I was hard. My condition was on point. I had more dense muscle. Like, my hamstrings was carved out. You didn't see his hamstrings. I'm going to talk some shit, because Blessing talks shit. My hamstrings was carved out. Like, man, I won that show, man. So what that right now, when I stepped off that plane, then unpack, I came straight to the gym and I hit quads. And every workout I'm hitting right now, I'm hitting with attention. So when I go to Cali, I'm shutting the door slam, and I'm gonna get ready for Olympia, because that win was my win. When they called my name at second place, that hurt. I was confused, because the judge said number 2 for second place, number 2, Charles Griffen. I'm like, oh, he messed up, because I'm not number 2, I'm number 6. He got something messed up. And he's like, no, that's correct. I'm like, wow. And I'm not even gonna lie, because I poured everything into this, you know what I mean? For 4 years, they knocked me on all this stuff. For 4 years, I looked the best I ever looked in my whole bodybuilding career this weekend, and they didn't reward me for that. They rewarded somebody else and I'm not taking nothing from Blessing. He looked good, he's made improvements, but my legs are bigger. My hamstrings are more carved out. I was more harder, everything like that, man. And I'm angry. I'm really angry, man, and I can't help to be like that, because I pour myself into this. I pour everything into this. You know what I mean? So that's like, man, I'm like I try to, like, I tell, like, okay, I'm pushing forward. I'm putting this behind me. There's no way you could put that really behind you. You know what I mean? So what I'm doing is I'm using that energy for the next show and for the workouts in this gym and for my posing that I'm gonna be doing and practicing. Because the next time I want to say, I didn't have any problems with my posing, but this time I'm gonna be like Hadi Chupon on stage. You know what I mean? Hadi hits some poses and he just stays right there and this and that. It's on, man, because I deserve that win, and I know I deserve that win. And I was looking online, you can see a lot of people saying, oh, Blessing. He has 1.8 million followers. So of course, you're gonna see all his fans saying this and that. But I had the real bodybuilding enthusiasts. I had the real people reaching out to me, telling me, I got this, you won this, you did this, you did that, you should have won this. So it's on, man. Like, I'm not here complaining about the judges gave it to him. He won the show. So what I'm doing, I'm using that fire for this next show. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna just close the door shut on them. You know what I mean? Because I know I could win, and I know I belong on the Olympic stage. And I did everything they told me to do the last 4 years, and I brought that, and I even brought it even harder. And it's like, when do I get my nod? Like, I got second place against a lot of people that it was very close, where I could have possibly won, but they got that nod. I'm not asking for a handout. I deserve that. When do I get my nod? To be like, oh, he's been grinding. He's done did this. He done did that. Let's give him his. Let's give him his, because he deserves that. And that's the way I felt. And they didn't give me mine. So I got to go take mine. You know what I mean? I see they're not going to give it to me. So I got to go take mine. And I'm just like, you can see me right now, I'm getting amped up and livid, because, man, it's like, this second place right here, this one hurt the most. This one really hurt the most because it hurt, man. It's hurt. And I'm just using that energy and I'm channeling that energy and I'm just gonna bring it the next time I hop on stage. You know what I mean? So that's what we plan on doing. Yeah.
Very cool. Now, after the Cali Pro, after you get your qualification there, would you take some more time to come on and just chat about that? Is that cool?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. I'll take some time to chat with you more about it. Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes,
cool.
sir.
All right. So last question that I have for you, Charles. I just want you to kind of maybe share with some of the younger listeners, maybe some people that are just getting into bodybuilding. Maybe there's somebody that's not where they need to be or know they should be in life, like you were at one point. What's some words of wisdom? What's some advice that you'd like to give to some of those people maybe in that position right now?
Be consistent and don't worry, you're not missing out on anything. You know what I mean? Like, there's been a lot of times where my friends is going out to the club or I gave up my motorcycle because I wanted to bodybuild. I wanted to do this. And I feel like I was missing out on this chance. Missing out. You're not missing anything. You're not missing anything. You know what I mean? Staying consistent and just staying hungry. You know what I mean? Don't stay complacent. There's always, keep your cup half full. You know what I mean? Keep your cup half full because there's always room to learn. There's always room to improve. There's always room. You know what I mean? So if your cup is full, you're done. You're done. So keep your cup half full. Listen to your coach and just stay consistent and hungry, man. That's what got me where I am. You know, being consistent and staying hungry and being resilient. You know what I mean? Not giving up. You know what I mean? And that's what's gonna happen in like 11 days. I'm not giving up. I'm about to bring some heat to him. That's what's gonna happen.
Very cool.
Yes.
All right, Charles. So I just want to thank you for taking some time, man, out of your day to just share a little bit of your story and where you're at right now in terms of competing this last weekend. Before I do the outro here quickly, do you have any final thoughts or words or any sponsors or any shout outs that you'd like to share? And let us know what your Instagram is, please.
All right. My Instagram is Charles Griffen _ IFBB Pro. That's my Instagram. I just want to give a shout out to the whole. First off, I want to give a shout out to my girlfriend, Brooke Browers. You know what I mean? That's my other half. You know what I mean? She's getting ready for junior nationals. So June 17th, she's about to turn pro in bikini. I want to give a shout out to all my people that came out there to Minnesota, to Lamar, TK, Aaron, Will. You know what I mean? I don't want to miss nobody. I just want to give a shout out to all my Minnesota people, Fargo people, you know what I mean? My person that makes all my suits quarter turn to the right, and my meal prep company, my chef box, you know what I mean? I just want to shout out to all my followers and all my fans that always show me constant support, man. I appreciate y'all because without y'all liking my stuff and without y'all buying the live streams and going to the shows, we ain't gonna have nothing. So I appreciate all y'all, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna make sure I keep delivering for all y'all. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Charles, thank you so much. And good luck here in a couple of weeks at the Cali Pro. Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Okay. All of you who are tuning into another episode of Behind the Muscle podcast, quickly, thank you so much. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's where I release all of these episodes first. So if you want to stay updated on Behind the Muscle podcast, make sure you're subscribed to YouTube. And then finally, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.